What's new to the game? What's true to the game? I just got done making plays on the metagame. What's new to the game? What's true to the game? Didn't mean to wreck your day, I just used to fake.
I'm Casey, and this is my extended film review of Dune Part 2. I have enjoyed both Dune movies. However, Dune Part 2 is my favorite so far. I have not read the Dune novels, so this film review will be purely based on the cinema. I have written an extended film review that is too long for your standard review. So, this is my video essay. That is my film review. If you would like to read my essay, I will leave it in the description. I will break up my video with clips from the film. This will help you grasp the content. Also, enjoy my custom score in the background. So without further ado, let's get into this. On March 1st, 2024, Dune Part 2 was released to theaters. Dune Part 2 is a spectacle of an action-packed sci-fi genre film. As of March 17th, 2024, the movie has grossed $494.7 million globally, which is more money than Dune 2021 has done to present. Dune has also surpassed the opening weekend sales of Oppenheimer 2023. And Oppenheimer just won 7 Academy Awards. Dune Part 2 has enough first week sales to be among the top highest grossing movies, eventually. First, I will disclose some of the basic but important information to the movie. Then, I will summarize the film's plots without giving away any spoilers for those who haven't seen it. I must give a detailed description of my viewing experience by analyzing the cinematic or formal techniques and thematic content. After watching the film for a third time, I was able to narrow my ideological analysis of the film to key takeaways. In this extended film review, I will evaluate multiculturalism used in the film, the representation of women's liberation in the Bene Gesserit sisterhood, and the acquired hegemony that the film has in the sci-fi film genre. Lastly, I must predict what will happen next in the Dune cinematic universe for those who anticipate another sequel. The film was directed by Denis Villeneuve. He also co-wrote the screenplay with John Spates and Frank Herbert. In the interview, Denis Villeneuve on why Dune Part 2 is bigger, longer, and better, Denis Villeneuve says it's more of an action movie. The film took on big names for their roles, including Timothée Chalamet, playing Paul Atreides. Timothée Chalamet has starred in the movies Dune 2021, Wonka 2023, and The French Dispatch. Zendaya, who starred in Spider-Man Far From Home 2019, Spider-Man No Way Home 2021, and Euphoria 2019 through 2022, plays Chani. Austin Butler, who starred in Elvis 2022, plays Fade Rotha. Josh Brolin, who starred in Avengers Endgame 2019 and Avengers Infinity War 2018, plays Gurney Halleck. Florence Pugh starred in Oppenheimer 2023 and Black Widow 2021 and plays Princess Irulan. Dave Bautista, who starred in Guardians of the Galaxy 2014, 2017, and 2023, plays Beast or Rabbit. Lastly, Christopher Walken, who starred in Catch Me If You Can 2002 and Jersey Boys 2014, plays Emperor. Notable supporting roles came from Rebecca Ferguson, playing Lady Jessica, Javier Bardem, who starred in Skyfall 2012, plays Stilgar, and Stellan Skarsgård, plays Baron Harkonnen. Due to the film's acquired list of outstanding actors and the director's claim that Dune Part 2 is more of an action movie, it is only fitting that the film is going to make lots of money. The film starts on a beautiful desert landscape on the planet of Arrakis. Paul Atreides, Chani, and the Fedaykin group, which are the elite Fremen fighters of the North or the North Desert, are disguised in the dunes of the desert. They appear as they are natural protectors and defenders of their land from the Harkonnen. The Fedaykin defend the spice fields on the planet from the conquerors of the land, the Harkonnen. Paul Atreides befriends the Fremen people to fight alongside the Fedaykin. He does this to avenge his father's death, who was murdered when he attempted to murder Baron Harkonnen. Paul gains the power to establish a following of Fremen people who believe in his character's fate. This includes Stilgar, the leader of the Fedaykin, and the northern Fremen people, and Chani, who was Paul Atreides' closest friend in the Fremen. Paul Atreides and his mother, Lady Jessica, do what they must to assimilate into the Fremen people's culture. Lady Jessica is a believer in the hierarchy of established knowledge, culture, and beliefs. This is because she was taught to be Bene Gesserit. According to Kara Kennedy in the book titled Dune and Philosophy, Kennedy says, "They are a pseudo-religious organization that encourages its members to perceive and use their bodies differently than we might expect of women in a medieval feudal age, or indeed by today's standards. Sisters and Reverend Mothers measure themselves against Bene Gesserit standards, not male standards." Lady Jessica is given an initiation by the Fremen gatekeepers to test her fate. She succeeds under extreme circumstances, which causes more Fremen people to believe in the Atreides family fate. When given multiple initiation tasks, Paul also proves himself to the Fedaykin, which helps him assimilate further in the Fremen people. Not only have the initiations caused the Atreides' mother to gain power, but she has also allowed her son, Paul, to be the Fremen's reason to believe once again in a prophecy. The prophet's name is the Lisan al-Jaib. The prophecy holds a story of a savior of the land that will bring water and vegetation to the planet of Arrakis, while also setting the Fremen people free of conquest. Paul takes advantage of the prophecy to cultivate a large gang of fighting Fremen to free the spice fields and take revenge on the Harkonnen for what they did to his father. Paul Atreides' name gained traction with the Harkonnen and the Fremen people of the Southlands on Arrakis because of his plan's evolving success. Paul Atreides must meet with the Fremen people of the Southlands on Arrakis to initiate war against the Harkonnen. The Fremen people of the South are referred to as the Fundamentalists due to their core beliefs in the prophecy. Paul Atreides becomes the proven prophet, the Lisan al-Jaib. He leads his Fremen people to war, and the movie becomes an epic revolution. I want to start my film experience description by saying that Dune Part 2 is the best film I've seen since 2018. It is now one of my favorite films. On the third viewing experience, I truly understood how much I loved the first few scenes of the film. Most of the lighting in the beginning scenes is orange and accents the sand well. The lighting gives me a good sense of temperature. The lighting in the film took on a developed sense of realism and depth. When I saw the white light, I understood how grand the movie's setting scale is. It is because the setting takes place on an entire planet of desert. When the sun's lights beam onto the planet's surface, I could tell that the land was vast and empty, with borders created by large rock structures. The movie is not primarily set in the dark, but when the white light contrasted against the darker setting, I could tell that there was a great sense of space. The lighting has a lot to do with the mise-en-scene. But the set design aspect of the mise-en-scene developed a world that was very far from home. To be specific, in the article, Metaphorical Indicators of the Hyperthemes of Dune Part 1, the authors say the film is set far into the future, in a world where humans have prohibited the construction and use of thinking machines and staked their fate on developing mental abilities that enabled them to master interstellar travel and populate multiple planetary systems without relying on artificial intelligence. The set design aspect of the mise-en-scene is futuristic, intense, and powerful. This is obvious in the scene where Beast Rabin, played by Dave Bautista, murders one of the Harkonnen councilmen by smashing the councilman's head against the table that provides a holographic projection of the planet of Arrakis. The set design in this scene has an extreme level of futuristic intensity, which gives the film a rigid aesthetic. The rigid aesthetic is present in the composition of lighting and cinematography. The film utilizes hard lighting frequently to achieve a rigid aesthetic. The hard lighting is used to compose the physical stability of the character's appearance. The characters proceed to validate the light for their appearance. The faces of the characters become chiseled and are given mythical composition qualities. The countless use of close-ups and medium close-up shots in the film allowed for hard lighting to be spectacularly used to portray purity in characters. Along with the close-ups, the frequent use of center punching brought about superiority to characters and objects. A noticeable number of shots that included hard lighting involved the use of black and white color contrasting. The black and white color contrast empowered scenes to be supreme in the order of scenes. The color contrast is noticeable in the scene where Fade Rotha slays the few men left of the Atreides military in the Colosseum as entertainment for the Harkonnen, including the leader, Baron Harkonnen.
Happy birthday, dear nephew.
The Colosseum scene is color composed in black and white, but the rigid definition in the characters' faces and costumes is present. The costumes in the scene are conceptualized as sci-fi. The costumes and makeup in the film carry more significance than expected, and in most cases are used as visual metaphors to the themes. In the case study, Metaphorical Indicators of the Hyperthemes of Dune Part 1, the authors say, the novel visual metaphor, the Harkonnens are screen vampires, is realized through visual similarities between the Harkonnens and the vampires from film and television in terms of appearance, costumes, and environment. Harkonnens are bald, have pale skin, wear black, and are shown almost invariably either in dark interiors or in night exteriors. The authors are implying a metaphysical similarity between the Harkonnen people and vampires. Through textual visual evidence, there is a connection between the visual representation of the Harkonnen and their distinguishable identity. The authors of the same case study say the visual metaphor highlights the Harkonnens' inhumanity and their parasitic modus operandi. The Harkonnen suck out the energy of the protagonists in the film due to their inhumane, deceptive, and greedy ways, and that is why they appear like vampires. The visual comparison of costumes should be considered because the costumes used in Dune Part 2 are symbolic of the weaknesses of each group's costume. The Fremen costumes are more practical and versatile. They appear to be multi-layered, flexible suits and impact-supporting compressed armor for militant activity. The Fremen costumes are built for constant activity in the desert but don't fall short of providing flexibility. The Fremen can easily work, run, fight, and sleep in their costume. The Fremen have an integrated system in their suit to hold a water supply that allows them to stay in the desert for long periods. This costume would be more sought after for anyone who would want to survive on the planet of Arrakis. The Fremen would benefit from more technologically advanced costumes, but they are slighted by their instincts to survive in the desert. The Harkonnen would benefit from the Fremen's versatile costume, but they are engulfed by their superiority. An armored Harkonnen fighter wears a heavily reinforced armored suit, which is too bulky for close combativeness. However, their costume appears more threatening to fit the superior demands of the Harkonnen. The Harkonnen costumes support the notion that the Harkonnen declare themselves as the ruling group of Arrakis, but nothing more. The Fremen costume assumes its fight against the ruling Harkonnen superiority. The costume worn by the Fremen supports the idea that the Fremen's militant structure assumes the position of effectively fighting the ruling group. Dune Part 2 has one of the greatest examples of a complex sound design. Due to the film being a sci-fi genre film, the sound is representational of sci-fi. There are many incorporated sounds with advanced low tones that exude depth and are unorthodox. These sounds are very representational of sci-fi and give the feeling of being in space or on another planet. Some of these sounds are non-diegetic and are given plenty of effects, like reverb to convey spatial awareness. The effects help to create a sense of realism. The effects are present in diegetic sounds, including dialogue. When there is dialogue occurring in an enclosed space, the dialogue is transformed with effects to meet spatial awareness. This is also true when sound like dialogue is occurring in an exterior location. There is a scene in the film where Paul Atreides is riding on a sandworm. The sound in this scene perfectly matches the space you see on film, and you will become fixated on visualizing yourself. In the scene, large waves of sand are constantly pounding Paul Atreides while he is riding the sandworm. As we view this, the realistic sound of the sound pounding Paul elevates our senses to evoke a transcending experience. Besides the well-mixed diegetic sounds, diegetic dialogue, non-diegetic sounds, and non-diegetic narration, there is a magical score composed by Hans Zimmer. The score is ambient, elegant, and thoughtful. Often the score develops a soothing emotion. This soothing emotion eases the tension of scenes and distracts our minds from the intense futuristic sci-fi. The score also evokes a deeper connection with the sci-fi narrative. The instruments that convey the sci-fi narrative are diverse in the ambient sounding selection of instruments. Dune Part 2 is a multicultural masterpiece. I will explain how multiculturalism is utilized in the film. The cast in the film is well diverse. Timothée Chalamet, who plays Paul, is a white American male. However, he has an ancestry of Jewish descent. Zendaya, who plays Chani, is an African American female from California. Her name means giving thanks in the African Shona tribe. Javier Bardem's IMDb profile says, Javier Bardem belongs to a family of actors that have been working on films since the early days of Spanish cinema. Javier Bardem is a Spanish actor who was born in the Canary Islands of Spain. He plays Stilgar. Florence Pugh, who played Princess Irulan, is an English actress born in Oxfordshire, England. The list of lead roles in this film has diverse backgrounds, and a lot of the diversity will escape your analysis. Did you know that Dave Bautista's ancestry is Greek and Filipino? In the book, Dune and Philosophy, Eduardo Perez states, Villeneuve's Dune isn't just recolored, it's recontextualized to fit a 21st century awareness regarding diversity and cultural pluralism. Villeneuve selected an appropriate cast that well represents a diverse cultural version of the vision that was first written by Frank Herbert in his Dune novel. Aside from the diversity present in lead roles, the background roles are diverse and it is visually obvious. In the book Dune and Philosophy, Eduardo Perez says, the color of your eyes can be often significant in our society, especially for people of color. Certainly this is the case with blue eyes in Dune. Zendaya, with blue eyes, signals something different about how we've been conditioned to view culture in light of physical appearance. This quote is saying that the blue coloring in the eyes of the Fremen people is empowering a certain demographic of people who admire this for cultural significance. It's important to people of color who admire the coloring of their eyes for social status. This social status is relevant to a desired fashion aesthetic, which translates into a belief that the color of your eyes is culturally signifying. In American Indian culture, the color of one's eyes is believed to reflect someone's connection to the spiritual and natural realms. Dune alludes to the importance of eye color through cause and effect in the Fremen people's culture. The Fremen people demand to eat spice so that they can live longer. When the Fremen people eat spice, their eyes turn blue. So the Fremen's dietary demands in their culture affect their physical appearance. It's true here on Earth that the demands of a specific culture and society will affect the people of that culture in a mental, physical, or emotional capacity. For example, white, American, Caucasian people lay out in the sun to achieve a tan tone of skin, which a tan tone of skin is sexually desirable. The Bene Gesserit sisterhood is a culture of women who expect only the best mental, physical, and emotional versions of their members. The sisterhood is represented as a group of women who utilize their potential to make their mark in the universe. In Dune Part 2, we fully comprehend the powers of the Bene Gesserit culture. The Bene Gesserit powers are scary. In the book, Dune and Philosophy, Kara Kennedy says, in fact, the Bene Gesserit are the standard of measurement for combat. The combat tactics made by the Bene Gesserit were taught to many in the Dune universe, including the Emperor's army. It's hard to believe that a woman who can potentially use lethal fighting tactics can also essentially control people with their voice. The Bene Gesserit can choose to enslave the minds of those they wish through a targeted pitch in their voice. The voice is a tool that keeps the Bene Gesserit woman within the shortcut of power. The voice gives the woman the confidence to get things done quickly, efficiently, and presumably in a safe manner, because they can use the voice in dangerous situations. They are willing to use their bodies to be active agents of their lives, which supports the idea that they have keen perceptive abilities. The women in the Bene Gesserit sisterhood appear to reject the idea that women are inferior to men simply because they can get pregnant. The Bene Gesserit choose to birth children and control their genetic lineage. This agency practiced in the body of the Bene Gesserit is inspirational for women on Earth, especially during the current decade that speculates rights to get an abortion in America. The Bene Gesserit symbolizes an unorthodox feminine reality through a narrative that flips a woman's socialization inside out. Women in the Bene Gesserit do not appear to have a socially constructed position in their society. The Bene Gesserit are independently engaging with the rest of the Dune universe. In the same book, Kara Kennedy says, "If girls and women do not experience their body as something to be ashamed of or a handicap, they can enjoy a more active and independent engagement with the world." The Bene Gesserit are signifying the reverse, advocate for women to be recognized on Earth as fully capable humans. The Dune franchise is a hegemon in the sci-fi genre because of its technologically advanced mise-en-scene. Dune Part 2 dominates through a technologically advanced mise-en-scene regarding the sci-fi film genre. The advanced components of the Dune mise-en-scene include special effects, costumes, and makeup. Even though a technologically advanced mise-en-scene provides film hegemony, how could Dune Part 2 acquire hegemony in a constantly growing film genre? Hegemony is the process by which a dominant culture maintains its position. In the article Exploring the Myth of Hegemonic Stability, Isabel Grunberg says great powers do pursue hegemony and open trade policies for self-seeking motives. The Dune franchise is pursuing selfish adequacy to trade rights to filmmakers who are selfish enough to use the Dune franchise's name to create a mise-en-scene that is technologically advanced. Dune Part 2 dominates mise-en-scene so that audiences recognize that the franchise is visualizing the mise-en-scene much farther into the future than when they released the Dune 1984 film. In honor of the 40th anniversary of the first Dune 1984 film, I will make comparisons of the mise-en-scene to the 1984 film to the 2024 film. This comparison will tally up the self-seeking motives that the Dune franchise has as a hegemon in the sci-fi film genre. The specifics of creating a sci-fi film have changed dramatically. Dune 1984 lacks a technologically advanced mise-en-scene, unlike Dune Part 2. This is due to the advancements in technology in all aspects of filmmaking after 40 years, which the creators of Dune Part 2 took full advantage of. The costume and makeup worn by the Harkonnen in the Dune 1984 film is very different than the 2024 film. The Harkonnen in the 1984 film have hair, and it is commonly seen that the Harkonnen has red hair. This changes in the 2024 film. After advancements in makeup, the Harkonnen are now a hairless species. The use of makeup to make an alien species appear more alien improves sci-fi filmmaking. On that note, the 1984 film lacks the values relevant to sci-fi filmmaking. This is obvious by the lack of extravagant sci-fi set design. The 1984 film has a medieval set design appearance, fitting for a film about the Knights of the Round Table. I say the use of lots of gold and silver in Dune 1984 led me to believe that the film has a more medieval look. The medieval look carried through the casting selection. There was no utilization of multiculturalism in the cast, unlike the certainly identifiable multiculturalism in the 2024 film. Dune Part 2 is an advanced version of the 1984 film, and it will rule out the Dune franchise's determinate potential in the sci-fi film genre through hegemony. Dune Part 2 is an epic film, and I look forward to the next Dune film. I agreed with the director when he said that the movie is more of an action film, and I hope that stays the same with the next film. Dune Part 2 will go down in my top 10 favorite films of all time. This is because of what I have laid out in my film experience description and ideological analysis. I am proud that I have seen the movie 3 times before it left theaters, and I encourage others to watch it 3 times as well, because I recommend the movie. It is said in the media that the name of the next film is Dune Messiah, which is most likely true for the Dune franchise if they want to chronologically order the movies by the titles of the books. Prediction for what will happen next in the Dune film. Paul Atreides will continue to fight the war on Arrakis for spice control. Paul Fedaykin and the fundamentalist group will continue to fight the war on Arrakis for spice control. Paul, the Fedaykin, and the fundamentalist Fremen group will be working together to defend the planet from the Emperor's conquest of Arrakis. The Emperor will battle turmoil to seek Paul Atreides' blinded love, which will make the Emperor's daughter, Princess Irulan, the perpetrator of planning Paul's defeat. Only then will the Emperor be able to capitalize on Paul's resilience. We have come to the end of this extended film review. I hope you consider my film description experience and my ideological analysis. Thank you for watching. Please leave feedback. And if this gets good feedback, I might make another film review for a future film. Thank you.